What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Gear Breaker Nation, where we give excellent assessment and reviews. And in this video, we want to talk about this question I've been always stirring about my mind when it comes to Resident Evil. Should Hunk have his own game? Now, for those who don't know, Hunk is one of the characters that's in Resident Evil. He's a really mysterious character, as he always wears this special ops outfit. Nobody ever knows what he looks like. He never reveals himself. He doesn't really say too much. He's here in the shadows, really, but you never really actually get to focus on him on certain games. He does come out, such as he's able to be played with in a couple of the Resident Evil games, such as Operation Raccoon City, though you don't play as him. But he's one of the characters that's in the game. Then you have other, well, he always plays somewhat in the Mercenaries games, and one of the better characters in my opinion. But it always begs reason. It's like, this guy's such a mysterious and pretty cool character. Why isn't he able to be fleshed out more than what the series is allowed to be fleshed out in? Now, I wanted to sit here. This video is just me throwing out some ideas and suggestions of what the game would be focusing on a character such as him. Now, first, I want to see this guy have some identity. Now, it would be pretty cool for him not to have an identity, as one of the most memorable characters in video game history, the Master Chief. You never really actually get to see who he is in the game, so it keeps in his personality is what's being fleshed out. So even though you don't see what he looks like, it's just his persona. So I think if the game won't focus on that aspect of his character, where he has his own personality, even though he wears this and this is what he's known for, I think that they should either just kind of drop the suit altogether, and that way we can see who this guy is. Now, if they do want to have a little twist to it, I would personally like to see him be like, I don't know, like a clone of Wesker, or Wesker's brother or something. One of those type of characters. That would be a pretty interesting twist, in my opinion. That would be a good way to kind of bring back another Wesker into the fray. And of course, you have Albert Wesker, who's the main antagonist for most of the video game series. And then for Revelations 2, you have Alex Wesker, which you find out that's his sister, which is pretty cool. Then in Resident Evil 6, you find out that Jake is his son. So it'd be pretty cool for him to actually either have a clone of himself, play as Hunk, or have us be his brother. I think that'd be a pretty cool way and a very effective way of bringing another Wesker into the fray. But if they aren't going to play with the image of Hunk and use his personality to flesh out the character, or just to reveal his character, like say maybe halfway or later on throughout the series, or maybe even at the beginning of the game, then I think that either one of those would be a really good idea. Now, if I wanted to play a game where I was Hunk, I would want to play something where his skills would be utilized the most. I would want him to play a mission, or at least the game would start off as a mission of opposite that of Resident Evil 4, where Leon was sent to actually go rescue somebody. I would like to see Hunk be sent to go kill somebody, assassinate somebody, because he is the man you go to. You want to get your hands dirty. For the most part, he always been sitting here retrieving samples and things like that. You see it with Ada, you seen it in Resident Evil 2 and Operation Raccoon City. But I would like to see the game start off with him trying to do that, and then eventually like evolve into something more. Think about it. Wouldn't it be pretty cool? It'd be a good way to kind of flesh out his character if he was sent to kill somebody, got put in a situation where his life was in danger, and then that certain somebody saved his life. That would sit there and probably stir up some conflicting emotions, or maybe not, because he is like a cold-blooded killer from what I've seen of him and everything. So, but I think that would be a good way of actually fleshing out his personality, by sitting here and concentrate on giving him some kind of conflicting ideology, where he has to sit here and say he has to kill a woman or a young girl, and then this person ends up saving his life. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say young girl. In fact, I would like for them to change the formula up and make it a little boy. Say he was sent here to kill this little boy's family or something, and he ends up killing the family, or he doesn't get the chance to kill the family, but he's there to sit there and kill the boy or something. I think that'd be a pretty good idea, because it allowed him to sit there and actually kind of connect with somebody, and it would allow him to connect with somebody, and I think that would be a pretty cool thing, and it would show it would give his character a lot of development. And if not, say you have it to where you actually have to work as a team or something, he actually gets control of the team, and you kind of can see if he might connect with these people or not. For the most part, every time he's a lone wolf. You never really see this person actually work with other people. Ada may be the only other person that's probably as skilled as him to actually work with him on certain things, but I would like to see him actually dive into something else. Also, other things like we can see, this would be a perfect opportunity to bring back some of the old and also keep some of the new going. I would like to see it be like another viral outbreak, but this time I want to see I want to see a little bit more chaos. I want to see people's lives be, and that's one thing I want to see too. I would like for it to be to where you can kind of see where his personal, who he is as a person. Like start at the beginning of the game, say like there's some people or something that are about to get killed by some zombies, and he neglects to sit there and actually help them because that's not what he's hired there. But later on in the story, you actually see him go out his way to help somebody. Like that would be a pretty cool way of actually fleshing out this character and giving them development. So I think that would be a pretty interesting way to go about doing this character. Other characters that probably come up in it, that which I think would probably be pretty cool, would be such characters like Ada Wong. Let Ada be there to help him. Say if like it's a 2-player or something, Ada be his partner. That would be pretty cool. Or you can sit there and say Ada comes in and helps him and aids him in certain things like that. That would probably be the most Ada would probably be the only other person he'd interact with like that. So I think that would be pretty nice thing to do. It'd be pretty good for him to actually be able to go against other characters that are prominent in the series. Say there's another outbreak, he's there to retrieve samples, and then he comes across Chris. They have a big battle or something like that. Bring in some new characters, because one thing I don't like about Resident Evil is that they focus on certain characters all the time, but they don't flesh out other ones that are being brought into it. Think about Billy. I think Billy should have his own game. Think about Rebecca Chambers. Bring her back. You know what I'm saying? Think about Sherry Burkham. Even though she was in Resident Evil 6, it wasn't like it was solely focused on her character. Barry Burton came back in Revelations 2, and the dude was a complete badass. So I think HUNK should have that and be able to sit here and interact with some of those characters, make them be an outside influence, but not really be like too much to the story, I guess. Like I said, maybe maybe HUNK has to talk to Hunnigan. That would be a good way of bringing her back without having to see him connected to Leon. Same thing with Ada. Bring Ada back to help him accomplish his goal. I think that'd be nice. If they want to bring other characters in, like if they want to do a Lady HUNK or whatever, bring her in. Maybe HUNK has a protege or something, bring him in. Have the kids or something be brought into it. I would like to see that. That's one thing I would like to see. Bring those characters out. Make the story about him, solely about him, but also have these other characters kind of interact, but bring in new interesting characters. I liked Moira. I think she was pretty cool in Revelations 2. I like that what was that one chick that was in the first Revelations, the one that turned out to be like the spy? I liked her. She was pretty cool too, you know. I like Sheva Alomar. I thought she was pretty badass. I liked I would say Pierce, but he Piers, but he died. So there's that. Jake, of course, bring Jake back. You know what I'm saying? I think they should do that. That would be a pretty cool thing. I would like to see backstory. I want to see backstory, how he has to interact with other characters and how he has to interact with the situations that he's in. Think about it. I would love to see how he got out of Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2 or Operation Raccoon City. I would like to see how he escaped. That's what I want to see. Also, I want to see like all this dialogue between him and Ada Wong as they're working under Wesker to collect these different samples. Like, I want to see that. I think that would be a pretty good idea. As you can see, the mechanizations of what was going on in the shadows of, you know, all these different Resident Evil games. I think that'd be pretty badass. I want to see some backstory, perhaps, on what took him to the path of working for Umbrella and becoming HUNK. You know, like family, friends. You know, when he was a teenager, something like that. Maybe him having this relationship with this other character brings back memories, especially considering the events that's going on through the game. So, you know, things like that does have a tendency to make people bond. I would like to see that. In fact, if I want to see if it's Ada and this HUNK working together, I would like to see how these two characters bond together, even though they're like killing machines. And if not, I would like to see how he bonds with other characters, and it brings out certain, you know, aspects of his personality. And I think that would be pretty cool too. You know, maybe you have somebody that had a good life and he had like a shitty life, and they kind of parallel their lives together and stuff, and you kind of see, or maybe they had the same type of life, had the same type of training, but you see that HUNK went this way with his you know, his expertise, while this person went this way with it. You know, I think that'd be pretty good to flesh out the character, give him some background, give him some punch, give him some you know what I'm saying, give the character some depth. That's one thing I like about HUNK. He's like one of the very few characters characters in video games that has presence, but not, it's barely in the fucking video games. It sometimes kills me, but I would love to just see that. Now, in terms of gameplay, I wanted to keep some of the different formulas from the other Resident Evil games. Like, I would like for it to bring back the little suitcase thing from the Resident Evil 4, because I think that was a good way of allowing players to sit here and be more choicy about the weapons and stuff that they had. I think that was pretty good. Maybe not make it a large briefcase, but keep the game challenging. Make it a small briefcase with different weapons. Use different weapons at different times for different things. So it makes the game very challenging on a lot of aspects. Also, I would like for them to have some of the mobility that they had in Resident Evil 6, which was one of the things I liked about it. Like the ability to kind of jump back and shoot, slide, to duck to the side, to jump to the side. I really liked those aspects. It kept things, kept the mobility and stuff really cool too. Also, I would like to see, you know, where in the current Resident Evil games where you start shooting bad guys and like parts of them come off, like when you shoot the zombies, you can shoot their arm off, you can shoot their leg and they'll fall, you can shoot their head will blow up. I would like to see stuff like that. I think that would be a pretty cool way for the gameplay. Now, in terms of survival horror, I want this game to be strictly survival horror. I had a friend that was playing The Evil Within, and that was survival horror. You barely had weaponry, you barely had bullets, you had to be quiet because the bad guys were stronger than you, they were faster than you, and they take a hell of a lot more damage too, as well as deal a hell of a lot more damage. So I would like to see that also. I would like to see this man use his training in combat situations to survive. I want to see him be able to have to stalk up behind zombies and stab them in the back of their head. Or I want to see him have to use stealth to get past a group of zombies or a group of creatures or monsters or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool also. If there is a two-player co-op, I would like to see how these two characters, regardless if it's with another civilian type player or with Ada, I want to see how they utilize these combat skills to get through these sticky situations. Now, say you have one situation where, I don't know, there's a creature that you can't kill it because you don't have the ammunition to do it. All you can do is run from it. I would like to see how, if it was Ada utilizes, like, goes ahead or something to distract the creature while HUNK has to go do something else. I think that'd be pretty cool. Another one would be, say, if there's a little kid or something, HUNK has to go distract the monster while the little kid has to maneuver his way through something else. I think that'd be pretty badass. In fact, I would like to see throughout the game a tyrant creature, a very interesting one, because the Usanok was pretty badass. I will give it that. Nemesis was badass. I like those. I would like to see HUNK have to contend with this. I want to see a Resident Evil game where it actually challenges HUNK's skills. So that's one aspect of it. I would like. The gameplay would be, like I said, survival, stealth, everything. Keep what Resident Evil 4 with the inventory. Keep some of the mobility from Resident Evil 6. I would like to see dark atmospheres and stuff like that. Very claustrophobic feeling, great detail, very powerful soundtracks that sit there and emphasize the horror themes of the game. But I want to see this actually as a survival horror. I don't mind the weapon modifications. I do think they are really good. Towards the gameplay, but still keep the gameplay challenging. Well, anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on HUNK deserving himself a game in the Resident Evil universe. I might make another video if I come up with some more different ideas, different subjects or something, or even different characters. But yes, in the comment section below, guys, let me know what you think. Should HUNK have his own game in the Resident Evil universe? And also, I need to know, should they reveal his identity, or should they just keep it to where he's in the special operatives outfit? Because me personally, I'm kind of on the fence about either one. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be good, it can be bad. It's so many ways this can go. And also, let me know what you think they should implement in the game if HUNK is the good guy. In fact, also, I know I'm just throwing them out there, but if it is, and it is co-op, should HUNK have a civilian for ally, or should he has Ada for ally? Because with Ada, it would be skill on skill trying to survive. But if it's just HUNK and a civilian, it's HUNK having to protect somebody. And one thing I will admit, if it is Ada and HUNK, then it would be like two professionals doing this. But if it's and it's like strictly business between the two characters, unless it's like some really crazy stuff that jumps off, which probably is if it's a Resident Evil game. But I think it'll be a good way to bond if HUNK has to protect or has to sit here and survive with a civilian that doesn't have any combat skills. Well, guys, I guess I'll catch you later on the next edition of Gearbreaker Nation. And remember, keep those gears turning.